I remember everything as if it only happened yesterday. I am not a hoarder. I am a collector of fine memories, such as my plastic shopping bag from the 1970s from Gray's drugstore. My dad used to get his medicine from there, and I thought the bag was unique, and I've kept it for decades. My M&M Christmas Club book, Miners Mechanics Bank. It was a Christmas club that you opened up year after year after year, mostly to get the premium gift. I have all of them. I have the goblet, the serving tray, the eggnog cup. It goes on and on and on. It's a coupon book. You open it up and you pay, they tear out a coupon, they would stamp the next one. And if you paid them all, they gave you the final payment as the interest. So if you had a $2 club, you got $2 for the year. If you had a $20 club, they'd give you $20. And then they would send you a check, like in October or November. They were really fun. A menu from Fox's Pizza Den from 1982. My dad was in the hospital about every year at the Ohio Valley Hospital. And afterwards, after me and my mother went and visited him, we would stop and get a pizza on the way home. And if I was really lucky, we'd get a wedgie. A wedgie is pizza dough that's folded over like a sandwich, and it had ham and melted cheese and I think some lettuce and onions, and it had jalapeno peppers. And we're not talking about like today's jalapeno peppers. These are the 1970s and 80s jalapeno peppers that still had so much heat in them that it would put welts in your mouth. And then about 2 hours later, your stomach would be on fire. I don't even want to tell you what happened to you the next day. And then like after a day or so, you would kind of forget about it. And then you'd order another one. And then this time you got extra jalapeno peppers. Good times. You know, I still wish somebody would just open up a wedgie hut. Or, you know, like one of those little, you know how they have the sausage sandwich places and that's all they sell? I want a place that just sells wedgies. And you could just walk in and say, give me 3. And then they would give you 3 of these sandwiches. They were so good. I have a catalog from the 1970s for the Steubenville Business College. My dad taught key punch there. That's where he met my mother. I still have a stack of the key punch cards. My mother used to take them and staple them into a big circle, and you fold the tops over, and she would spray paint them gold and silver and put glitter on them and made Christmas wreaths. Turns out everybody who ever worked on key punch cards made Christmas wreaths. I didn't know that. I have the Frisbee that we got at Kentucky Fried Chicken the day we bought a family meal, and we drove out to Jefferson Lake. We often did this, and we commandeered a bench. We'd sit, eat. I'd go fishing, go to the beach, go into that little nature place that had creepy things in aquariums. And I remember throwing the Frisbee that day. It's attached to such great memories. Why would I ever get rid of that? I am not a hoarder. I'm just really well prepared for show and tell. I have glasses from all the fast food places back in the 70s and 80s. And when I say glasses, I mean they were really made of glass. I have the Empire Strikes Back series from Burger King. I have McDonald's glasses like the Great Muppet Caper and Grimace and Hamburglar, which is my favorite. I have endless jelly jars with Bugs Bunny and Peanuts characters on. You know, I'm starting to wonder, did my parents ever eat any jellies or jams that they actually liked, or were they just stuck eating stuff that I said, no, please get this, Mom, to complete my collection. I have the glass from the first pizza place at the Fort Steuben Mall. I have a tumbler or cup, because it's not made from glass, of King Kong. I got this when I got a drink at the Hollywood Shopping Plaza at the movie theater. We went to see the remake of King Kong, and me and my friends went. So how do you throw that away? I mean, like, that was a great night that night. This is the front and back picture of a bank that they gave out at the Fort Steuben Mall. They wanted you to vote down a measure to put deposits on cans and bottles. And oddly, it says it only would clean up 20% of all the garbage. Doesn't that seem like that should have been in favor of the deposits? But hey, everybody voted it down, so no deposits. The Rice Krispie Bank, where you had to send in the box tops. I used to follow my mother into the Kroger store, and before that, the A&P store, and before that, the Loblaws store downtown. And Every box of cereal I ever picked out, I think, had the word sugar in it. Back then, it was like sugar Frosted Flakes, sugar Pops, sugar Chex, sugar, sugar Smacks. Everything had the word sugar in it. And even better, if you didn't send the box tops in to get the prize, it was in the box. And I have a shelf full of those toys, along with my Happy Meal toys and Fun Meal toys that they had at Burger Chef. On the third floor of the hub, they had the Boy Scout section. I was a Cub Scout, Weeblo, Boy Scout. I loved it. And you could go up there and look at all the little knickknacks that they had for the Scouts. And one of them was these rubber molds, and you would put plaster of Paris in it. Who knew that plaster of Paris could last for 45 years? One of the molds was for a Boy Scout, but they had to discontinue the model because his little head kept popping off. I am not a hoarder. I am a historian. This is a stack of catalogs from the local community college. I worked there for 29 years. I have like 35 years worth of catalogs, all the way up to the point where they stopped making them. I actually have more catalogs than they do. People used to come to my office and ask, you wouldn't have the 1978 catalog, would you? I have to look something up. And sure enough, I would have it. Of course, there's all the photographs. Picture of my mother when she went to Toronto High School. Picture of my father when he was 17, had his picture in the newspaper because he got a letter from Jonas Salk because he was one of the test subjects for the polio vaccine. That's his dog Sandy. Picture of Frank Saraceno, or Cheech, as people knew him, the owner of Bruno's Bar for decades in downtown Steubenville. Picture of me at the bicentennial celebration, and later that night was the greatest fireworks that Steubenville ever had. This is like one of the 10 best days of my life. I have some old newspapers, like when President Ford took over for Nixon, or when Jimmy Carter came to town. Okay, that's Ms. Patches Kilmowski. But when Jimmy Carter came to town, and me and my mother went and got tickets at the Fort Steuben Mall, and went down to Big Red and saw him. Later, I would go see Ronald Reagan when he was campaigning against Jimmy Carter. I mostly like the old ads in the newspaper, places that are no longer there. And this ad goes on, Big Chef, Super Chef, Top Chef, and they misspell chef every single time. Even though it says Burger Chef down in the left-hand corner there and spelled it right. I still have a Burger Chef coupon. And someday I know in my heart of hearts that somebody's going to buy the rights to this franchise. And I'm going to go in with my expired coupon on the first day, ask for the manager, and say, I think my coupon's a little bit expired. Would you still take it? And if they say no, at the top of my lungs, I'm going to say, this is an outrage! And I'm going to storm out. And then I'm going to have to go through the drive-thru and get myself 2 Top Chefs. Because sometimes I actually dream of eating some Top Chefs. The listening booth at the Fort Steuben Mall. The first record store at the mall. Elby's Fish and Chips. I'd always get extra Grecian bread and extra tartar sauce and dip the Grecian bread into the tartar sauce. On paper, that doesn't sound good, but it really is. Eva Gabor wigs. You'd come down Market Street and they had the little heads in the window with these wigs on. And it used to freak me out. I grew up watching like Chilly Billy at night and those haunted science fiction theater shows. And I remember The Brain That Wouldn't Die and that one movie where the woman's head falls out of the hat box and rolls down the steps. So I would have to hide down in the back seat and ask my parents to tell me once we passed the store because I didn't want to look at the store window. The original release of Star Wars, it was a badge of honor to go see this. I think I saw it 14 times as a kid, and I loved it every single time. And then there's all the other ads, places that I'll never see again, never hear about again. I just love looking at all the old ads. I still have a 100-year-old rose bush growing outside that was on my grandparents' farm. I have 2 tennis rackets that my mother saved up her S&H green stamps and got for me. And me and my friend used to play out in the cul-de-sac, to the horror of all my neighbors, I'm sure. But I can't get rid of those. Or the original copy of Mad Magazine with the middle finger. And I had to convince the woman at the A&P to sell it to me, and I swore my dad was out in the car. And finally she sold it to me, and then when I got to the car, my parents went, "How did you get them to sell this to you?" Okay, I admit it. Maybe I am a hoarder. And you know, I think I'm okay with that. For now, it's me, Camroy, here on YouTube.